You may have heard these words before. The Nazis, a warning from history. Yes, I think the Nazis were a warning from history. I think it's very important that we remember the Nazis, and I'm hoping that, that we can all agree pretty quickly that the rise of the Nazis was a bad thing. Now, if there's one thing that we learn from the rise of the Nazis, what should it be? Well, I suggest that it's this. We're not as safe from tyranny as we thought we were. You see, we put lots of faith, don't we, in things like having an educated population, having police, having a constitution, having democracy, having a free press, all these things that we see as safeguarding us from tyranny. And yet, in the 1930s, I think you'll find that Germany was a very well-ordered society. There were, it was well policed, it was well educated, it was high-tech. It was certainly an advanced country for its day. It had a constitution, it had democracy and a free press. So, good. It should be impossible for tyranny to rise in such conditions. And yet tyranny did, didn't it? The Third Reich happened. And despite all those safeguards which you would think would have protected Germany, they didn't work. Well, why didn't they? Well, all of them require people to use them. You actually have to read the free press, take in the education you're given, and then act on those facts, make decisions and so forth. And if things are going wrong, someone actually has to say, excuse me, sorry, I think you'll find that that's actually wrong. And if nobody does, or at least if not enough people do, then like sheep, you end up being herded into the pen and you got tyranny. Well, how is this related then to climate change and stuff? Well, I'm suggesting this. We may think that we've got science and we've got a free press and we've got government-funded science, as well as universities, and we've got scientists looking to all sorts of aspects of climate change, and we've got peer review, journals, we've got all these sorts of things which should be safeguards against bad science. Only, no, actually it's still possible for bad science to exist. As soon as you've got people giving funding, or deciding who gets funding based on what results they come up with, suddenly it's not science anymore, is it? Peer review only works if peers actually review honestly. And if they're thinking that they're going to be kicked out of the university for which they work, if they condemn someone who's in favour of global warming theory, then they're likely to pass it and say, yeah, that's fine, and say that they've reviewed it and that it's fine for the journal to publish it as is. And if everyone just sort of doesn't question the carting off of Jews to concentration camps, then Jews will be carted off to concentration camps. My government has just signed up to a treaty committing it to produce a certain amount of our power by wind turbines by the year 2020. Now, interestingly, it would require a wind farm the size of Wales for the government to honour this treaty. Now, it may surprise no one that Britain doesn't actually have the size of Wales going spare at the moment, so one thing you can be pretty certain of is that it's not going to happen, is it? So why did my government sign up to it? It's almost as though they just have to be seen to be doing the right thing. And as long as there are votes in it and they can be seen to be doing the right thing and their heart's in the right place, that's all right, isn't it? It's not very scientific though, is it? I quite like policies to be based on, like facts and stuff. The Nazis told the population of Germany all sorts of pernicious nonsense that the population used as an excuse to do nothing to stop the Nazis. Oh, well, apparently all this racist stuff is based on science, and you can't argue with science, can you? Oh, apparently all this carbon trading stuff, all these new taxes, all these policies that the government is coming up with, carbon offsetting, it's all based on science, so that's all right then.